Welcome back, our visionaries.
Yes, today's subject, we're going to talk about RV beginner mistakes and tips. But what we're going to do, since there's so many of them, we're going to handpick 10 of them puppies out of there. And we're going to share those with you today. Sound good? And really, you don't have to be an RV beginner to make these. Not that we would know. Shall we get to it?
Let's go.
Checklist. I'm going to start off with number 1. That would be probably the most important thing, is having a checklist. A checklist is very important for when you're tearing down or setting up. So what we have done is created a checklist on our iPhone. We use the Notes app and just created a checklist, and it gives you a little check option where you can check everything off. That is done. That is done. That is done. And of course, take them back off. Michelle?
I'm in here, starting number 2 on the list. Turn off your propane before you start driving. We have a switch right up here that we can do that. If you don't have a switch, you can just turn it off at the valve. We also have the water heater switch up here that we turn off at the same time. We do this as a precautionary measure so that there are no chances that an explosion could occur while we're driving. If you have an RV fridge that would also use propane and you've turned off your propane, the RV fridge should stay cold for quite a long time.
If you have wet cell batteries, you have batteries that you have to keep filled with water on a monthly basis. One of the biggest mistakes that RVers sometimes make is not keeping those filled, and it diminishes the life of the batteries. You need to make sure you keep these maintained on a monthly basis. What I do is I put a reminder on our phone, and not only that, but I also make it the first of the month, because I have found that you have it in the middle of the month, then you're more likely to forget what day that is. If you have it on the first of the month, not only do you get the reminder on your phone, but once you know it's the first of the month, it automatically sets off a bell that, oh yeah, it's time to fill up the batteries. Another mistake with the batteries, since we're here, never use tap water in your batteries. Why? Because the minerals inside that tap water will diminish the batteries and increase the rate in which they self-discharge. Always use distilled water. Sometimes I'll use the whole gallon, but it's harder to hold it steady. I'll take an empty water bottle and I'll just pour a little bit in there and rinse it all out. I don't like to have any tap water whatsoever in the batteries. And then I fill a little bottle up with water. And I look inside the batteries. You'll see the cells at the bottom. When you look inside, they need to be filled about a ½ inch above those cells. You have a little wall in here where that plastic wall goes down. At the bottom of that wall, basically you can just fill that water up to that wall and you should be good. You can go around each of your batteries and do the same. And sometimes I'll just leave that little bottle right there with the cap sealed tight. On to the next.
Know your RV height and enter your RV measurements in a trucker GPS app so that you can avoid areas not to drive in. Be sure to account for anything on your roof.
Our next tip and a newbie mistake is after your gray tank is finished, be sure you close it. If you're taking off and you just emptied your gray tank, if you left that open and forgot to close that and you put your cap on, when you get to your next place and you have been using your water all that time from your pump, then when you go to your next site and you go to hook up your hose, you pull the cap off and all that gunk is going to be coming back on you. Ow! You don't want that. Our next tip, while we're here, is do not cheap out on your sewer hose. You do not want to hook your sewer hose up somewhere and have a cheap hose that has holes forming in it, and all of a sudden you get that stuff spewing all over you. ew. Ow! Ow! And speaking of ew, always wear your disposable gloves when handling your sewer hose. Power and plug adapters. Always have extra plug adapters. You may get somewhere and you think you had a reservation for 50 amp service. You get there and you find out the only thing that's available is 30 amp. Be sure to have your adapters. Next tip, always keep up on your RV maintenance, whether it's Class A, Class C, Class B, fifth wheel, travel trailer, whatever it may be. Keep up on the maintenance of your RV. And always, oh, there's the end. Check your fluids. Be sure you are where you need to be. I almost forgot. Not only do you want to make sure you have a good sewer hose, you also want to have an extension. It really stinks, no pun intended, if you ever get somewhere and you don't have a long enough sewer hose to make it to the drain. Since we're talking about extensions, also be sure you have an extension for your power cords as well. You hate to get somewhere and you don't have enough length in your cord to make it to your power. Then you find yourself running somewhere trying to find an extension cord for this type of cord. May not be so easy to find, especially if it's a Sunday. Do you have steps that retract on your RV? Don't make the mistake of leaving them out. It could take them off. When you shut your door and your steps are still out, that's not good. Make sure you turn your switch on. This is what you want. Now we're good to go. The next and one of the biggest newbie mistakes is if you have the TV antennas that you crank up and down, you can take those antennas right off if you forget to wind it back down. So what do?
We take our handy dandy little reminder, fasten it to a twisty tie.
Tie it to the steering wheel like so.
Bada bing, bada boom.
And once I take this workstation off of the steering wheel before we leave, then we're going to see that little reminder hanging there and it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. So then we know that that antenna is still up and it reminds us to put it down. Then we take that little reminder, once we put it down, put it back on the antenna, just tie it around the knob on the antenna handle. And then once we drive and go to the next park, we see it hanging there and that reminds us that we haven't put our TV antenna back up yet. So then we take that twisty tie off. Once we have the antenna up, put it back on the steering wheel and it stays there however long you're going to be staying there. It just stays on the steering wheel out of the way, but yet you're going to see it plain as day once this workstation's off here. Hate those cold, frigid nights. Hate to use your propane in your propane tank. What? You're on electrical power? Get a couple of these. Even one. We use one and it keeps us from having to use our propane. Instead, we use the electric from the campgrounds that we're at. Why use your own propane, right?
Well, thank you for watching, Visionaries. If you liked our video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe.
And if you have any other suggestions related to this video, please leave a comment down below. Maybe you're a little more seasoned than we are and have some better suggestions. We just picked 10 of the many, but the more the merrier.
And as always, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as our website, LivinRVision.com.
Until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.
3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching, Visionaries. Visionaries, I have not been drinking.
No, we just had happy hour margaritas. So thank you very much for watching.
All right.
See ya. Let's get to it.
We take our handy dandy little...
We take our handy dandy reminder.
This effing reminder.
And share with you today. Let's get busy. Hold on. Stare at the camera.
Sorry.
Shall we get to it?
Let's go. Oh, I started.
Don't forget the bloopers.
And
you
can always find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as our website, LivinRVision.com.
LivinRVision.com. Got that? Livin.
I think
Until
they
next
got
time. Hasta la vista.
it. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Ciao.
Arrivederci.
I like that. Later.